Hi, everybody. The purpose of our panel discussion is to provide insight from our different perspectives on the adult education program at the University of Rhode Island. And I'd like to start by introducing each of our panelists. Ken Lynch is the husband and father to two children, ages 9 and 6, and is a nurse practitioner with the Department of Surgery at Rhode Island Hospital, having been in that position for the last 10 years. He's a faculty member of Brown University and spends a large portion of his clinical week educating and training third and fourth year medical students and surgical residents. He has been involved in adult education his entire career, but never had formal training in education theory or practice. Ken is applying to the URI RIC PhD in Education program, where he hopes to further his research on learning transfer as it applies to surgical skill acquisition, with the ultimate goal of creating and transitioning into the role of surgical residency educator for his department. Mo Falahia is a 41-year-old father of one boy, age 10. He's working as an interpreter and community outreach coordinator for the Massachusetts Department of Health and Legal, and has been a medical interpreter at Rhode Island hospitals and court systems since 2012. Prior to this, he was a teacher of foreign languages in Iranian high schools and middle schools in the United States. As a health educator, Mo's job is to reach out to refugees and those seeking asylum who have limitations or barriers in English to educate them about infectious diseases. Mo is currently working on his master's in adult education. His goal is to get his PhD to be a college instructor in the next 5 years. Iñaki Perez Ibanez is married and has two young boys, ages 8 and 5. He is currently teaching Spanish at Moses Brown, a co-educational independent school in Providence. He has taught for the last 16 years at the high school and university level. He also worked at URI as Senior Information Technologist and Supervisor of the Language Learning Resource Center, where he helped faculty members to integrate technology in their courses and create multimedia content for their classes. Iñaki holds a PhD in Spanish language and literature from the University of Navarre, a master's in computer science from the University of Rhode Island, and intends to graduate from URI's Master's in Education with Teacher Certification program in December 2016. He is currently in the process of applying to the URI RIC Doctorate in Education program. Paul Ritchie is married and has two children, ages 16 and 13. In 1992, he started his policing career as a patrol officer for the North Providence Police Department. As a lifelong resident of the community, Paul wanted to work to make a difference and help the people of the town. He remains committed to the philosophy of working closely with the diverse community in order to improve service and enhance public safety. During his 21-year career in law enforcement, Paul worked within or closely with all divisions of the police department and retired as the captain in charge of administration. In his current position as Senior Information Technologist for Public Safety at URI, he continues to work closely with stakeholders to enhance public safety, increase department efficiency, and meet the expectations of the public safety department and the university population. Paul has found that in both careers, adult learners are constantly being introduced to new advances in technology and training opportunities. The Master's in Education program at URI will help him to be a better trainer and educator to his coworkers. Paul is excited to be in the program. And my name is Kara Clayton. I live in Michigan with my husband and 23-year-old son. Prior to beginning my teaching career, I worked in broadcast and corporate television. Since 1995, I've taught in the South Redford School District, where I created an award-winning high school media literacy and video production program. Having a passion for both media and digital literacy courses, I'm frequently called upon by local, state, and national education organizations to offer workshops in the area of digital literacy learning. In addition, I'm on the faculty at the University of Rhode Island Summer Institute in Digital Literacy. I will graduate with my master's in adult education from URI in December 2016. So let's get started today with our panel by asking each of our panelists why they decided to go back to graduate school and what their recent experience has been like. So, Paul, why don't we start with you? How did you find out about the graduate program in adult education, and how do you balance career, family, and grad school?
For me, it was a great fit for both how the courses would affect my personal life, as well as how useful the information would be to me in my career. And so I actually began the Master's in Criminal Justice program at Boston University. But during that, I was promoted to captain in the police department, so that was put on hold. Later, I decided to try the Master's program in Public Administration here at URI, but it was difficult to balance the classwork with my family life and other obligations. Essentially, on days I had class, I left home at 7 a.m. and returned at about 9:15 p.m. So those 2 days were completely shot. And in addition to that, you had preparation for class, the readings, the various assignments. So to answer the question, I found out about the graduate program in adult ed from one of my coworkers, Pam Jackson. She's a graduate of the program, and basically while I was complaining about the MPA book program, she recommended the adult ed program to me, and she thought it would be a good fit because I'm frequently involved in training my coworkers. So, and for the second part of that, the balance question with family and career with grad school, I found that to schedule time to complete the assignments and the coursework is really important for me. If I don't block off a time slot, there's always something else that comes up to interfere with the schoolwork. The fact that this program is online is so helpful. Driving into the city took up so much time, and honestly, that was a huge barrier to overcome. So I find that the classes being online is extremely helpful in achieving the balance I need to succeed in the graduate program.
Great, thank you. Mo, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Teaching for 7 years in Iran, 2001 until 2006 in Iran, gave me this idea that built my career. But unfortunately, I couldn't stay there because I left Iran for the political reasons, and I came here 2011. And the big barrier was how to evaluate my, teaching certificate that I have in Iran in here in education system. That was in 2013 when I went to education department and I asked them to can I evaluate my degree, and they said no, you have to take the credits. And the spark of idea came to me. I have to, finish my degree in a master degree, because unfortunately Iranian regime didn't allow me to finish my degree because of political, issues. They refused my master degree in 2008, and then this spark lead me to go to Kathy, and she actually gave me very big help to continue my education. And getting my master is actually helping me to succeed in my life, family, help my son to, get better in literature, English, and helping in math, and in my career life too. When I get my master degree, I get promotion, I get better job. So this is the big reason that pushed me to, register for master degree program.
That's awesome. Ken, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Yeah, so as you said, I've been a nurse practitioner for the last 10 years with the Department of Surgery at Rhode Island Hospital, and a pretty dramatic change has happened over those 10 years in some of the requirements for residents working, particularly the work hour requirement. It's essentially being, a third of it has been shaved off from an average 120-hour work week to now they're max out at 80 hours. So because of that, we've had to get extremely creative at revamping our curriculum in order to maximize learning and transfer in order to improve skill acquisition. And we've been using the apprenticeship model for 120 years in medicine. And unfortunately, with all these new mandates, it's not working as efficiently as it used to, because no longer are people being exposed to multiple cases countless hours a day. Anything you do with residents in the medical field, it counts against those 80 hours. So not only are we training them to be physicians, but we're training them to be surgeons as well. And when you add simulation classes in with this, or any didactic, that takes away from those 80 hours, and that's less time they get to spend actually taking care of patients. So I've been looking for quite some time at various programs, because I knew, although we do this teaching, no one in my department, and this is something that is similar across the country, no one really has formal education or advanced degrees in education in the medical field. So it's been a passion of mine, because I've spent so many hours training medical students and residents to go back and get a PhD in education, so I can further some of the research that I'm doing in this area to revamp curriculums, help with faculty development, and move more in towards a surgical residency coordinator position, educator. And URI, Dr. Pino had got in contact with me as I was searching for programs, and it's very rare to find somebody within an institution, an academic institution, who's had experience in this area. And she's recently done some research with surgeons and training and how they mentor residents, and so it was a great fit, and I'm just happy that we were able to connect.
So you're really busy. Can you talk about how you balance the different parts of your life?
Yeah, I think, like most of us, Paul was saying, that with kids and family, I think that was the toughest thing, to try to balance the time of attending classes. But what I find to be helpful is just kind of being kind of strict with yourself and outlining things in terms of commitments, and letting the family know, what you have the upcoming week and what hours you're not going to be available. And there's ways to work around it. When you think that there's only 24 hours a day, you seem to find some time to work on things. For me personally, it's when my children, who are 9 and 6, go to bed, and by 8:30, 9 o'clock, I have those next few hours usually, unless I'm on call or something, but to really be productive in any work assignments that we have. And as Paul said also, I mean, the convenience of doing some of the classes online really help and facilitate, making it very easy to get to class, or just hunker down in an office with a computer somewhere and jump on WebEx. So I think you really just, as long as you're honest with yourself about your time commitments, and just open with your family about your time commitments, I think there's ways around it, and to find time and make time, basically.
Thank you. And Iggy, want to jump in here?
The reason I'm doing the master is, well, I needed the teacher certification to teach in the public system here at Rhode Island. I'm now teaching at a private institution, but I don't know if I want to stay in the public sector or move into the public schools later on in my degree. It's a decision I have not made yet. But if I don't get the teacher certification, it's for sure that I'm not going to be able to do so. I'm very interested in working with heritage speakers of Spanish, which is basically Hispanic people in the public schools. My school doesn't have a strong population of Hispanic yet, and it's something that is changing, but that was one of the main reasons I decided to go into this program. And I think I completely agree with what Ken said about how to get organized, how to let your family know what are going to be your commitments for the week. And I found also very useful many times to contact the teachers before the beginning of the semester, during the Christmas period or during the summer period, and ask them for the syllabus, for the readings that you have to be doing, and start early. So whenever I can, I try to contact the professors, ahead of time, ask them for the syllabus, and if can, I get the textbooks and I start reading, or I start with the assignments as soon as possible.
Very good. So as I mentioned in their introductions, two of our panelists have international experiences. So I'd like to ask Mo, how does your university experience in the U.S. compare to the experience you had in Iran?
Yes, speaking about the differences between well-known, education system like America with unknown education system like Iran is tough a little bit. But there is actually similarity between Iranian system because Iranian system got the idea from Western education system from France, but there is a little of similarity between the American and Iranian education system. But compare when we contrast two systems, we can see the Iranian education system mixed with religious ideology, and they teach in public schools and even in higher education, they teach and they put the religion as a very basic part of education. And you can see for every 140 credits in bachelor degree undergraduate, they have like 20 credits just for religion, and these credits are mandatory for any students. And Iranian education system is below 100 in rate of the international, and they are in 96 point because of the uh, using less using of technology. They don't use it a lot in the classes, and they actually, when we compare the censure, student censure that we see in American university, we don't have it over there. It's almost traditional, and all the speech 40 minutes is given by professors or teachers, and they start little by little to be more westernized, and they get the idea to give the center, the student center, but still they have from K to 12 they use the very traditional way of teaching. And and use in terms of teaching foreign languages in Iran, they like 10 years ago, they start English and French in the 9th grade. But now they started in 6th grade, and they teach French and English. And when we know over here, we know the public schools, they start early in America and Western countries. And there is a lot of differences they teach Persian or Farsi as a main language in teaching system, and unfortunately English is not. They don't care of teaching English in undergraduate or even universities, because they believe the English make the students more westernized and with the culture of Western, and they fight it, especially with the human sciences. They almost edited all the units, all the books of any philosophy or any Western philosophy or modern that come from the West. So they fight anything came from West. That's the differences between, and I can add more between the comment of my colleagues. Yeah.
Thank you. Iggy, would you like to talk to us about university experience in Spain versus here in the United States, and specifically Russia?
Yeah, one of the things that I have to say has very much in common with what Mo just said, and it's the university in Spain is very teacher-centered, professor-centered. The students, there is a push to change it, and it's changing lately, but at least when I was there, the classes were mostly teacher-centered. The teacher will go there, give the lecture, and it was also very much based in content. We have to learn and memorize data. We have to learn and memorize different words. It was not so much about learning a skill or learning a process. That was one of the main differences. The other main difference has to do with economics. And it's, in Spain, the public university is almost free. It costs no more than 1/10 of what the public university costs here in the US. being so cheap, the amount of students that you have in the university, the percentage is much higher. And that what happened is that mostly the people that want to go to the university go to the university. So adult education programs are practically inexistent in Spain because the only people that go to the university after the undergraduate degree is those that either want to get a master program or a doctorate program, but not people that, for whatever reason, took a gap in their education and then come back to the university. That really doesn't exist. And another thing that is still a work in progress is the blended courses or the online courses. That kind of platform is something that is not very common in Spain yet. It's taking off, but it's not very common yet.
So the next two questions, actually the next set of questions are for Paul and Ken, who come from non-traditional education programs. One's in medical and one's in public safety. Neither of you have had traditional teaching experiences, yet you've both decided to pursue advanced degrees in education. So can you tell our audience, and let's start with Paul, what motivated you to go this route, as well as some of the experiences you've had that are unique to your profession?
Yeah, well, I think one of the challenges is in law enforcement. There's not too many education or training opportunities that are optional. So the topics that we cover end up being mandatory. For example, we have firearms training, domestic violence training, cultural diversity training. All these types of trainings are mandatory, but I think what we need to concentrate on is to make the material interesting, not just blandly distribute it out and show a PowerPoint and say, okay, here it is. I think it's important that we keep the principles of teaching involved, and they still apply. And as a law enforcement trainer, we've got to make sure that the material is relevant and interesting to the officers. So what I'll do with some of the things I've learned thus far is I want to institute right off the bat a needs analysis to just let us know, what actually the training needs are. Some are mandated, but also we can be a little more creative. I also think what we can do is solidify the goals and objectives so that we actually know where we're headed in this training program. So I want to get more buy-in from the officers to help them succeed in the trainings, and they need to understand how the information will help them in their day-to-day operations. And as well as, it can help them in their career path. So, motivate them in that fashion as well. Far too often in law enforcement, training is seen as a necessary evil. Basically, be here at this date and this time, or you may face discipline. We need to get away from that. We need to do a better job as law enforcement leaders to sell this information, for lack of a better term, but the selling is important. The content that they want to get, let them know that this process will have value to them, and the reason for them training isn't just to check a box, but also to help them out in their careers. And also, a lot of it can save their lives or someone's life out in the field. So, another thing I noticed, and this doesn't happen enough, is we don't survey the officers in the community to ensure that the limited resources we have available in the training budget are used in the best way possible. So, a lot of these ideas came from the classes that I've taken thus far in the master's program. So, that really helped open my eyes to the many ways that law enforcement can improve on what we're doing. And I think that this program would be a great benefit to all trainers and leadership.
Right. Ken, would you like to talk to us about this program from a medical perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I spoke a little bit about some of the changes in the curriculum that they've implemented. Just to expand a little bit more, adopting adult education to the medical field, it's not a new thing, but it's recent within the last 5 years to the last decade. But unfortunately, not having people who have an advanced degree in adult education theories from adult education don't translate well into the medical field because there's no one to help us translate them. So things like debriefing or critical thinking, when you say that we say that we're doing self-directed learning and teaching, we're not really doing that because we don't understand the concepts behind it. Experiential learning, or we'll say it, but we'll use it as a hospital-based outcome measure. And that's just, it's not just us, it's everyone who's doing that. So we really need people who have a deep understanding of adult education theory in order to reform the curriculums that we work with on a daily basis. Because like I said, time is of the essence, and we only have so much of it to try to teach these folks how to become better surgeons. And if I can do that and get better at that for curriculum development, that's my goal, and that's why I chose to go back to pursue this advanced degree in education, and hopefully I can put it into practice, and the research that I want to do will focus on ways to improve that.
Awesome. Okay, and the next couple of questions are for anybody who would like to respond. So what are some of the benefits of the University of Rhode Island's Masters in Education program that maybe you haven't hit on already?
Well,
Maybe you want to take that question?
I will start if you allow me. One of the things that I see is what Mo showed before, that getting an education, no matter what, is going to improve your chances to get a better job. There is a correlation between the education that you get and the kind of job that you can get. That's one of the things. But it's also for me a personal matter of personal enrichment. You know, it's you change the way that you think about things, as when you see other people, when you relate to other people, when you read the studies, it changes your way of thinking, and it opens your borders. That's one of the things. And specifically about the University of Rhode Island, what I like about this program is the opportunity that we have to collaborate and to study with people from different backgrounds. You know, it's the first time that I'm working with somebody that is in the nursing field, or with the law enforcement, or a translator, a professional translator working with refugees. That's something new completely for me. Normally, you know, when you go to a traditional master's in education, you are just with people that want to be teachers in a high school or in a school or things like that. So I think that that's one of the beautiful points about the University of Rhode Island Masters.
I could echo that point that you just said. Like, for me, that one of the things that I've been experiencing since starting classes last September is just the diversity, like you said, but hearing other people's experience in their own clinical settings, and those with a strong background in education, whether it's in the K through 12 system or collegiate level, that's actually helped me, like, when I go back to my practice and try to, like, implement some of those techniques and skills. So I think the diversity that we have here is very refreshing, and it's helped me immensely so far.
Yeah, I'm going to just say a couple things too. I've found, this is my second master's, and the first master's I did many, many years ago at Eastern Michigan University. And I have found the staff at the University of Rhode Island to be incredible as far as reaching out, trying to help. What can I do to make it different, easier, more helpful, and it's been great. And I'll also echo the international colleagues have made this incredibly enriching for me. I've learned, I don't know, I feel like I've learned a lot just from listening to people talk about their experiences from different countries, including when we're in our group sessions with the other students as well. So it's been really a joy for me, and I've really enjoyed it a lot. All right. Our last question is for Ken. And Ken, perhaps you can tell us a bit about some of the barriers you encountered as a returning student.
I think we hit it, you know, talking about family and stuff earlier. It's just balancing, I think, the time commitment is definitely something that you got to work around. But as we said, it's doable as long as you're honest to yourself and those that you live with or those around you. Obviously, attending class can be getting to class. Whether there's a snowstorm or, you know, the university, we're in the state of Rhode Island, except for the long distance students, Kara, you know, that could be a little bit of an issue, but fortunately, I mean, there's a lot of the online classes, like we've said, so that makes it very easy to attend. I guess in the same respect that if you're not too technically savvy, that could also be a barrier. But you know, there's departments within the university that can help you get up and running on WebEx and get your Google accounts going. So there's a lot of support if that's needing. And then you have to be honest about the financial commitment. Again, Carrie, you're at a loss, an out-of-state student. But if you're within the state of Rhode Island, you can take advantage of some of the in-state tuition breaks. But there are scholarships out there, plenty of them if you go looking for them. So those are some of the things I think you have to definitely think about before you make a return to education or to school. But I think they're not obstacles that are not, you can get over. They're not hurdles that you can't mount.
And I was wrong. We do have one more question, and that's for all of you. If you can just give a brief kind of summary of what you hope to do once you have this degree. We talked a little bit about it in your introductions, but if you have anything more you'd like to add, that would be really helpful. What's your goal? What are you hoping to get to do next once you're done? So can we start with let's start with Paul in just one moment. Actually, have Paul muted for a moment.
Here we go. I think I got it.
Okay.
Well, I think in closing, what I want to do with the degree is just to help improve the training programs that the URI police are involved in now. So one thing I'd like to do is incorporate more online content, and then the officers can review it at their leisure instead of having to appear at a mandatory training. You know, understanding that they face the same challenges that we all do. I think as the trainer, I have to have that empathy and understand that these mandatory trainings maybe not the best way to go. So I like to use the knowledge from this class or from these classes and get the masters to help them, you know, be more creative and maybe start a new direction for law enforcement training.
Great. Thank you. I'm having trouble unmuting mics. A second here. All right. Well, Iggy, why don't you go ahead and answer that question for us? What are you hoping to do with this?
I hope to do two things. One is I hope to work with heritage speakers of Spanish, with the Hispanic population. I would like to do something to close the performance gap that there is right now between these students and the rest of the students in high school, increase their graduation rate, lower the dropout rate, do something to help them with that. That's one of the things that I want to do. And the other thing I would like to do is work with teachers to become a teacher of teacher, helping other people learn how to teach, what the strategies work, what has worked for me in the classes, in the classroom, what is some things that they have learned by experience that don't work and that they should be avoided. So those will be the two main fields that I would like to work with heritage speakers of Spanish and with other teachers to be like helping them, you know, to be a better, to be a teacher of teachers.
Okay. So I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties, as is often the case in a online environment. I don't know, Ken, if you are currently muted, are you able to unmute yourself? Is that even a possibility?
Yes, I think that's good.
Oh, you are unmuted. There you go. You're back. Can you go ahead? Sorry about that. Can you go ahead and talk to us about your plans?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my ultimate goal is to move into the role of a surgical residency educator. But my particular research interest that I have is learning transfer, improving learning transfer that applies to surgical skill acquisition, and the concept of coaching within the intraoperative environment by providing debriefing and critical thinking and self-reflection skills on residents is something that's really not been explored much in the literature, and something that I hope to look at within my own department. So.
Great. And Mo, you are also muted. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. All right.
With this degree, I believe, I can use this, courses to teach Arabic in Department for Foreign Languages in college, and I got the promise for next semester. We'll see what's going to happen. But the encourage, too, is going to encourage me to get my PhD, absolutely.
Well, that is the end of our panel discussion for tonight. We hope that the information here helps anyone who is considering enrolling in the University of Rhode Island's Master's in Education program to really think about doing it. We've had a really great experience, and we think you will as well. So we're going to stop our broadcast, and we will be happy to answer questions from our classmates once we resume the WebEx forum.